I blew 120 mil in like 2 days since the last video. Hi guys, it's Cree here, and welcome back to Road to PVM Mastery. And this is why I've dropped over 100 mil. I basically upgraded my gear. I blame invention. So I used to have Anima Core for ranged and magic for the body and legs, because I didn't want to keep repairing them, and they're quite costly to repair. I also didn't have the tier 80 boots, so I'm gonna sort of go through my gear upgrades now. So first of all, we'll cover ranged. Now I've still got the Pernix helm, still got Mirror of Souls, still got the Killing Cape, Silent Ring, the Pernix gloves. Now the new stuff, Pernix boots. I was not using those before. The Pernix body, which I have Absorptive 2 and Venom Blood, with Crackling 3 and Crystal Shield 1. Now, obviously, some of these perks are not going to be the best, but I mean, I dropped 100 mil, and it's still impossible to get good perks. So I've also got an Enhancer Voted 3 and Lucky 3 on my Pernix legs. And yeah, Glowworm. I won't ever need a lantern anymore. I went for Lucky because biting was just turning out to be too expensive. Honestly, I could have probably made less loss if I went for biting from Nox items. So my crossbows are the same, except I've changed the perks around. So on my main hand I've got Aftershock 3, and on my offhand I've got Precise 3 and Equilibrium 2. Now I do have Precise 5 in my bank if I feel like this gizmo isn't cutting it. So if I feel like Precise 3 and Equilibrium 2 is not doing enough, I will switch to Precise 5. Now for my magic setup. I basically still use a Virtus helm, Virtus gloves, magic Killing Cape, Amulet of Souls, Asylum Ring. The new stuff, I've got Virtus boots now, and for the body I have Absorptive 3, Crackling 3 and Crystal Shield 1. Now I couldn't get Venom Blood again with Absorptive 3. Honestly, there's not much stuff I'm fighting that will do poison damage as magic, mostly just Krill. So yeah, I mean, it's great on my Pernix. I'm doing Greg, doing Rax, etc. On the legs, I've got Crystal Shield 3. I couldn't get anything else with that. I did actually want that perk over Enhanced Devoted, because I just prefer Crystal Shield. I don't know why. Lucky 3 as well on the legs, because cheap. The staff, not much has changed. I've gone for Aftershock 3, but I've kept the Precise 5. And I'm starting to feel like Precise 5 is decent. So these next clips I'm going to show are all from 20 minutes of Cree. And I was duoing with a clanmate, and we got, I believe it was 6 rares within 20 minutes. Like, we made like 8 mil split each, and this was so ridiculous. And this was 20 minutes, 8 mil split each. That's 16 mil in 20 minutes, and like, if that were an hourly rate, that would be close to 50 mil per hour. So that was an insanely lucky boss fight. I also did some Next Angel of Death this week. This was a Modly Mass, which I joined, and you'll see at the end of the video how well that went. But this was an actual kill that I got. I did get a kill count for it, so in an hour I got 1 kill count. So that was great. But he was sort of explaining the fight on stream, so I sort of learned quite a lot about the fight. I sort of learned what you're meant to actually do, most of his abilities. So I found this actually really helpful. This was a really good live stream they did. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. Didn't get any drops, obviously. It's a mass. There's loads of people in there. Lel. So this week, Onyx's managed to reach 3 million in the GE before they started crashing again the other day. So I did a lot of killing. I didn't get any pet, but I got a bunch of Onyxes. So I'm sort of going to go through a few things I do in killing. So I basically take obsidian armor, and I take all 3 attack styles, and I also take overloads. So the first thing to note is that the first 10 waves I use melee mostly for. The waves 11 to 20 I use mostly range. And then the next 10 I use magic, and then the last few is sort of like everywhere. So as you're seeing, I'm sort of rushing to each corner to increase the kill speed, except I'm also like prioritizing when I make weapon switches, just so that I'm sort of ready. I'm sort of ready for the next wave, well, the next set of waves. So honestly, like, the killing isn't really hard. It's just long and tedious. So I'm actually having to soul split here. So something that's important to mention is that I get an invincibility crystal for the double jabbed wave. In fact, I got 2 here because I was intending to use one on the deal waves. So yeah, I'm mostly sort of using 1 type for every 10 waves, but I am switching if there are any big minions of other types. Also, you never want to be ranging deals, so the Jads are really straightforward. Like, you can mess up and take a hit from them and they'll still be fine. In fact, like, that's with obsidian armor. In fact, they seem to miss a lot. Like, I missed my prayer switches so often, and I only ever once got hit by one of the Jads as a result of that. So these are the magic using waves. So like, I use magic and there's a lot of melees, but it sort of gets a bit difficult because there's a lot of other styles mixed into these waves now. And the next wave is going to be a deal wave, which can be problematic if you're not prepared, because you need to be using range against that major as well. So I tackle this wave quite slowly. I just take them 1 at a time, well, 2 at a time, because they can really hurt. So from the next wave onwards, which is going to be wave 31, I start using my single damage types for each wave. Like, I switch my helm between waves because a lot of these are focused towards just one style. And then from here is like this Jad, so I make sure I finish on a style that isn't melee in the waves, because I don't want to be meleeing Jad. So coming up is the double jab wave, which I just use an invincibility crystal beforehand, and if it looks like I'm not going to have enough time, I do turn on Fortitude just to increase my defense, so I can at least avoid one, because I don't want to be double hit by Jad. I probably would survive with obsidian armor, but I don't want to be having to eat to regain my health. Now, Huracan is just slow and long, honestly. Huracan is a chore, but it's really easy. I found magic to be much better Huracan than ranged though, so I'd advise doing that. Range, it took me about like 4 or 5 cycles to take him down. For magic, I can do it in 3, so and each cycle is 45 seconds, so it massively reduces the amount of time to do the killing if you're able to do them in less cycles. So yeah, that's fight killing. I thought I'd show a full fight killing for you guys, because I was struggling for footage until today. Lel. So I did a lot of God War Dungeon 2 challenge modes, and I mean a lot this week, but I didn't include all the footage because honestly they're quite boring kills to watch. Like, they're quite boring and long kills, except the Hellweir kills, which there is going to be some Hellweir later, hint hint at the end. So I decided to include Vindictus and omit everything else, because Vindictus is honestly like the longest, and it's like people rarely do it, and for good reason. It's an awful boss for challenge mode. It's just completely disproportionate in the amount of time that it takes to do compared to the amount of reward that you get, because I spent about 250k in like consumables and maintaining my gear for this fight, and I got a 60k drop. That is just completely disproportionate. So this is sort of why I don't do Vindictus that often. Lel. So now this is the secret in the video. I made sure not to mention it in the title. This is the big thing. I finally managed to get the Reaper title by killing Virago, and this sort of came out really out of the blue. Like, I'm actually making and uploading this video on the same day that I did it. I did this like 2 hours ago, and this is like such a surprise for me to actually just randomly get it. But I was on the right time. There was a group asking, offering to teach a learner, and honestly, like, I'd looked up the fight beforehand, and it seemed not too difficult for a DPS. I will say this: I do want to learn roles for this in the future, preferably like sort of in the near future. I did go with teaching RS, but I didn't go with one of their official raid callers. Now, I should note that one of their main raid callers did actually come in TS to make sure that they were calling properly for me, which I thought that was a really nice touch. So yeah, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna plug teaching RS because they're awesome. If you want to learn to boss, for whatever reason, Insane Final Boss, Reaper, Loot, the challenge of learning a boss, then they're definitely the best people to go to. They definitely make sure you learn the boss. And so I still do need to sort of learn a bit more for this boss, but that'll come with future kills. I sort of need to know. The hardest thing for me was working out when he's going to do the reflect attack. That's sort of the hardest thing for me. So, finally, to end up this video, I'm showing a board of what I've got left. Reaper is done. Completely done. I have the title now. So, yeah, following is a death montage because I died a lot this week. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Great video coming out next week. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later.